So last week you'll have seen the fact that I am now short many cars and I'm on the hunt for a new daily driver. I decided that I needed a car that was going to be fairly sensible, could carry 4 people with ease in case I needed to go anywhere with family, was reasonably economical and was going to be, pretty reliable. I was thinking maybe getting something Japanese or something kind of basic like a Ford or preferably VAG type product. So, browsing eBay one day, I saw the perfect car, and being the decent, sensible, level-headed person that I am, I went and collected it. So, here is my new daily. It is an Alfa Romeo Brera with the 3.2 litre V6. Specifically, this is the Skyview model with the nice big panoramic sunroof and the Q4 four-wheel drive system. I chose this car because it is basically a hatchback, and I'm not really a big fan of hatchbacks, but I decided that for practicality that's probably what I should go for. And you know what, as much as I tried to convince myself that I could live with either an old French car or an old Focus or something, that I just wanted something that's going to be nice to look at and, more importantly, a nice place to be on the inside. And this thing has an absolutely gorgeous interior. I did consider getting a VAG for quite a while, but you know what? The world and his wife has a Golf, and I thought, as someone who sort of makes their current career out of being a bit of a petrolhead, I should try and get something different. And I was hoping that maybe by buying this, I could somehow put my old Alfa problems to bed, because those of you that will have viewed my Q&A video will know that the worst car and the worst car ownership experience I ever had was with an Alfa Romeo. So the big question is, can this one right that wrong? And the answer is no. I picked this car out of the many available for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was reasonably cheap, and part of that is due to the fact that it was a Cat D write-off in the past, but had been damaged repaired, and also this car was an import from the Republic of Ireland. Now, that's not an entirely bad thing, because that means it's actually a UK specification car. And critically, these cars are known for their rust issues, and in the Republic of Ireland, they don't put salt on the roads, something that we in the UK do. So, that was a couple of plus points. Also, the guy selling it was a bit of an Italian car nut. He had 2 Alfa Romeos and a Maserati. So I thought, this is going to be okay. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows what he's talking about, and it should be a good time. Unfortunately, the car had run out of MOT, so I basically had to buy the thing without a test drive. Unfortunately, it seems that there is a good chance that the seller of this vehicle may have been slightly economical with the truth regarding its roadworthiness. He said in the advert that the car ran and drove spot on. Well, under 2,000 RPM, this car misfires like a dog. Now, it is due a very large service, and part of that service is the spark plug. So basically, this car is 10 years old and is on the original plugs. So that may be it. There is also a list as long as your arm of other things that these cars are known to do, which could also be causing that problem. Now, some good news is that the 3.2 litre engine is actually fairly robust, and out of all the engines offered with this car, it's probably one of the more reliable. It's certainly not known for things going catastrophically wrong. Unfortunately, however, it has an unbelievable thirst. I knew this wasn't going to be a super economical car when I bought it, but I thought if it can do 30-something to the gallon on the motorway, that'll be fine. And the guy that sold it to me said that, yeah, it'll definitely do that. It doesn't. Anyone that tries to convince you that this is a semi-economical car, horse twaddle. Absolute nonsense. This thing is unbelievably thirsty. In fact, I think it may be the thirstiest car I have ever owned. And for a car with reasonably modest performance, it's 260 horsepower. That's just inexcusable. There are probably a couple of reasons for it. Number one, this thing is heavy. I mean, seriously heavy. Alfa quote about 1,630 kilos for the car, which is already on the lardy side for a reasonably small car. It's not a full-sized vehicle. However, a Swiss magazine put it on a set of scales to find out the genuine weight of the car. It was 1,770 kilos. So basically, when you've got a couple of people in it, this is a more than 2-ton car. And if that wasn't quite enough, I discovered after a few hundred miles that the car didn't seem to be handling quite right, and it began pulling to the right quite significantly. So I stopped and tried to investigate and see what was going on to make sure that nothing was going awry with the tyres, and this is what I discovered. I would say that this tyre has been wearing slightly unevenly, wouldn't you? You have here on one side about 4 mil of tread, nice, proper, correct tyre, and on the other side, lovely, lovely cords. Now, when I picked this car up, this tyre was definitely not like this, and in about 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles maybe, that's happened. So, despite assurances that it drove absolutely fine, having a slightly hard time believing that. Now, maybe it's my fault for having bought a car with a bit of a colourful history, but this is very, very dangerous, and this brings up a point that I want to mention to you guys. Get the tracking checked on your cars, regardless of what it is, whether you've just bought it or you've had it for years, get the tracking checked. At the most extreme end, stuff like this, you'll basically be doing yourself a massive favour because you'll be preventing a catastrophic accident with a tyre. Especially if you have other people that drive cars and don't know the warning signs of something going a little bit wrong to be able to stop and investigate and see what's happening. I fortunately got to this in the nick of time, but had someone else kept driving it, it would have ended quite badly. Also, if you have a performance car, particularly something like a Lotus or a Ferrari or something like that, then getting the tracking check will mean that your car performs exactly as it's intended to. Little adjustments on something like a Lotus can make a big, big difference to the feel of the handling of your car, so definitely get that checked. Now, it might sound like this car is a total disaster, but actually it's far from it. It does have quite a few good things going for it. Let's start with the outside. It is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. This is such a pretty car to look at. And it basically suckered me in, which I'm sure it's done to plenty of other people. Now, this one in particular needs a few cosmetic tweaks. There's a few bits at the front need sorting, but, you know, it's in the correct colour for an Alfa Romeo. It is gorgeous. It's got these lovely silvery chrome handles. The wheels are not the best, but, you know, wheels are easy to replace, let's be honest. Also, one of my big priorities was that I wanted a car that was a lovely, lovely place to be. And this is definitely that. The interior is absolutely gorgeous. Now, despite the fact that this is a 10-year-old car, it feels very, very solid, very, very well put together on the inside. And, shock of all shocks, for an Alfa Romeo, nearly all of the electronics actually work. The passenger mirror door switch thing, the window switch, that's the one. The passenger window switch on the driver's side doesn't work all the time, but the motor is fine because if you do it from the passenger side, it works okay. The sat-nav is hideously out of date because it's hideously out of date, and if you put a burned CD into it, it doesn't really like it very much. But other than that, everything works. The aircon works. The roof works. This doesn't actually open, but there's a little sliding bit in there, and that works fine. So basically, it works. The four-wheel drive system is actually very good as well, and the car even makes a semi-pleasing sound, although I think it can definitely be a little louder, and I may look to fix that. Unfortunately, the car's biggest Achilles heel for me is something that I'm just not going to be able to fix, and that's the fact that despite it being a reasonably large car, there is literally no room in the back seats. I am not in any way, shape or form exaggerating when I say there is more room for passengers in the back of my Evora than there is in this. When I've got my driver's seat in a normal position, which isn't even that far back, I am actually touching the rear seats. And that, sadly, is the problem out of all others, which means I'm just not going to keep this car. But I don't want to do to someone else what's been done to me. So I am going to spend some time and money getting this car up to standard. I'm going to get it mechanically sorted. I've already put a pair of decent front tyres on it to replace the knackered one and sort out whatever tracking issue is causing this problem. So the car is going to be looked after, and fortunately I seem to be surrounded by Alfa specialists. I am in East Anglia and I haven't yet booked this car in. So if you guys watching have someone that you know and you trust and you love to work on your Alfa cars, or you are by any chance an Alfa workshop yourself watching this video, please get in touch, because I could use recommendations for where to take this, because I am sure that an Alfa, much like a Lotus, really benefits from specialist attention. So there you have it, my Alfa Brera. It's a nearly there car. I really desperately wanted to love it. I've actually had this car for a couple of weeks now, but I just can't love it, and it's not going to stay, which is a shame, because it was so close to being a great car, but it just fell short. Oh well. It has, however, been maybe a slightly better experience than my last Alfa. Well, the search continues.